This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined from MTK Global, Mr. Jamie Conlon. How are you, mate?
Oh, good, Cooch. Good morning.
Good morning indeed. It's Friday. There's a lot going on today, which we'll come on to. But before we start about this weekend, I wanted to talk to you about last weekend, and obviously Britain, MTK Global has a new world champion in Sonny Edwards, and your brother Michael Conlan coming through a fight with Baluta. We know Baluta, what he'd done in his previous two fights. So it was always going to be a bit of a test for Michael, but he came through that. So it was a successful weekend, all in all, for MTK.
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. I think Sonny was special. I have a list because I got only a dentist, so I've got like a tooth in there at the back. And saying Sonny is the worst thing you can say. But I thought he was special. I thought he really came of age. He was very vocal on social media to troll, to people coming back to him and really giving people a lot of energy and time. And a few people in boxing had texted me saying like he should have moved away from it. But I think he's the kind of person who thrives on stuff like this and came out of it even better. I was worried a wee bit because he seemed like he was all over the place. But internally, when I seen him on fight week, he just looked like a man who was on a mission. He looked determined. He looked like he knew the job at hand was going to be very, very tough, and he had a game plan in his head that he had to perform to a T. But to beat Matalani, he really, really like. I spoke with someone last week saying the Ring Magazine #1 was Matalani before coming over. I think the last UK fighter to do it maybe was Bellew against Usyk or Campbell against Lomachenko. You know, these are few and far between where a UK fighter actually fights the best in the world in their division and beats them. Was the underdog on the night to go with that. So big kudos to Sonny. He believed in himself a long time before anyone else even thought about it. And he was calling for world champions very early in his career, calling for British champions very early in his career. And he just proved that, you know, his talents matched his talk. Great performance. Matalani, though, when you meet that guy, like there was an aura around him. One of the most humble people I've ever met in my life. You would never know there was a world champion in the corner. When they came into the room as a team, you know, he was very quiet, very humble, really respectful, really lovely guy. Everyone who was around him got like a feeling of him that was a lovely person. But at that age as well, it looked like he had maybe that was a step or a fight too far, and the age of finally caught up with him as well. So I think Sonny now is gunning for Martinez, which would be another amazing fight, going for family revenge and stuff like this. So really interesting. He's jumped right into the mix with elite unification fights in a top quality division. So I'm excited to see what's next for Sonny. On Michael, I think he underperformed. I think he was looking for the KO very, very early, loading up then, looking for the KO, but go on.
Carry on, it's okay.
On Michael, he was looking for the KO too early, looking for the KO in general. I think it in his head, he wanted to knock the guy out. He seen the shots there, he heard him early, and then he just started looking for it, loading up. And it's a fantastic learning feat because you have to be in the ring, going through that process, feeling that feeling, knowing that you made a mistake then after. So he now knows what it feels like to go looking and hunting for a KO instead of letting it flow. He had a fantastic camp. He looked great in camp. And then he just got in the ring and tried to blitz the guy out because he had seen the openings there instead of just letting it come. So amazing learning step, fantastic learning step. It's a step that I know already he's looking to get straight back in the ring. He's out running on Monday morning after. He identified the mistakes that he's made. He identified what he needs to improve on. And I'm very happy now that he has come through it. I thought the scoring was crazy. There's no way, even though he underperformed and Baluta was very good at times. There was no way he could score 6 rounds of Beluta. I don't know where Bob Williams got that from. It's not the first time Bob Williams has been his scoring has been susceptible. It's coming a common trait, it seems, in the UK, that listen, scoring is always going to be queried and judged. It's what makes boxing different to every other sport. You know, a winner in football is the person who puts the ball in the net more than the other team, whereas in boxing it's always in different people's eyes. So I think scoring, again, they were scoring shots that was never landing. And up close and personal, I'd give your man, I'm Michael's biggest critic, I would give your man 3-4 out of push. And the rounds that he lost, it was because he wasn't doing enough work and the guy was probably just outworking him. How anyone could score 6 rounds to Beluta, it baffles me.
I mean, listen, yeah, regardless of him coming through that, it was a good learning fight for Michael. And I think kind of moving on, Michael's obviously going to be chasing a world title very soon. But that was a good fight to come through. You said he underperformed, which is a fair comment on your side, but that was a good learning fight for him.
Listen, it ticked a lot of boxes. He made 122 for the first time in his career, then a 12-rounder for the first time in his career. He fought someone who was relentless in coming forward, and he was able to handle it. And listen, he stayed in the pocket, and his ability to stay in the pocket and make the guy miss when he was throwing 3s and 4s was exceptional. There was a lot also a lot of positives to take from it internally, but we know what Michael is capable of, and I know what he was producing in camp. So I know that he definitely underperformed, but it's good. It's good that he underperformed because now it gives him that wee added incentive to learn from it and to know the mistakes he was making, to feel the mistakes he was making.
Let's move on to this week, and there's a lot of stuff been going on this week. But I do want to start off with a fight that's a little bit gone under the radar just because of the magnitude of what's going on tomorrow night with Canelo and Billy Joe. But tonight, which I think it was announced yesterday, the fight will be live on Fight TV. Liam Smith takes on one of them very difficult tasks of going out to Russia to face MICK. For people that don't know about Kurbanov, he's a very good fighter. Listening to Liam talk about him yesterday, he's not in the kind of same mould as a typical Russian that we're kind of used to. He's more of a boxer. What can you tell us about this fight with Kurbanov and Liam Smith?
All eyes is going to be on Billy Joe and Canelo, but I believe Kurbanov and Liam Smith could be the fight of the weekend. Kurbanov spent close to a year, I think, with Adam Booth, sparring with Josh Kelly, sparring a lot, and then became close with my brother. So when I was going over and seeing Michael, you would see Magomed sparring, and he's very, very, very good, very good. Big ask going to Russia, but Beefy he just doesn't care. It's one of them guys. He faces all comers. I think Beefy will want to meet him in the center of the ring. I think it's going to be a fair fight. I think he's not your typical Russian orthodox big straight punching 1-2. I think he'll get in nitty gritty and try and match Beefy inside. He's strong, very, very strong. But I think it's a style that also suits Beefy because he'll want him to stand and hold his feet with him and stand in the center of the ring and trade body shots and headshots. So I believe it's going to be a fair fight. I believe Beefy is one of these fighters that he just faces anyone. He does not care. Slight chip on his shoulder, just gets in, gets the work done. One of them blue collar fighters who gets the work done, gets back, probably play football on a Sunday morning. You know, one of them ones who just gets on about his business and going to Russia. He had other easier options on the table and chose this fight to go to Russia. Like this is testament to Liam Smith, to the fighting man that he is, and I believe he wins the fight. Russia is Russia, and I think Beefy will win the fight enough to kind of even sway Russian judges as well. So I think it's going to be a top quality fight.
You know, talking to Liam probably about 3 months ago when he was talking about potential fights with Jesse Vargas and Kell Brook, and these are the kind of fights he was targeting at that point. And, you know, he said obviously he didn't envisage this kind of task that he faces tonight as part of those fights he was looking at. But a win over Kurbanov tonight could, and we're saying could, this guy's a former world champion, fought the likes of Canelo. I mean, the Canelo fight was like 5 years ago. It's crazy. Yeah. Like Liam Smith's had a great career, regardless of what happens tonight. But he's very confident he pulls off that job tonight. Difficult task, but Liam's very confident he can pull off that task.
No doubt about it. I think Beefy, he's one of them fighters that raises the occasion as well. Going to Russia is an added incentive for him to put a bit more into it. So, yeah, I believe he raises it a task. I believe he comes through it. I believe then he's right back in the mix for world titles and big fights.
Well, like I said, that's tonight, and you can watch that, on Fight TV. Coming on to tomorrow, before we talk about Saunders and Canelo, Jamie, MTK's Kieran Conway takes on Solomon Suzoko, who's obviously part of the 258 group that's linked with Anthony Joshua. This fight was meant to have taken place on that Anthony Joshua undercard against Pulev. It didn't happen. It is happening tomorrow night. Great opportunity for Kieran Conway to showcase his talents on the world scale.
100%.
To the world scale, to the world scale.
To the world scale against a world-class opponent. You know, Suzoko was an elite amateur, and Matchroom and 258 think very highly of him. I don't think they expected Conway to take this fight, to jump at this fight, but he's very excited. They truly believe that they have the beatings of Suzoko. As you said, it was previously done. Conway was heartbroken when Suzoko pulled out the first time, and then getting to America has been a task, I've heard, for everyone. So he just about got in time, visa and waivers and all done in time. So I think it's another quality fight. I think Suzoko brings he brings pressure, he brings work rate, he brings very, very high tempo. Conway hits very hard, big for the weight, and I think he can match his work rate as well. So 100%, what a stage to perform on. You know, coming from where he's came from, and he's been proven doubters wrong from the very start. And he's been brought in to lose against, I believe he's brought in to lose against the likes of Cheeseman and stuff. So he's been the forgotten man in that division, but constantly turning the wheels and putting in performances.
Yeah, it's a very interesting fight. Like I said, it was one of the best fights that was announced on that AJ Pulev card, fell through, but yeah, 4 or 5 months later, it's happening tomorrow night. So yeah, quite interested in that one. Well, Saunders Canelo, we've got the weigh-in today, later on this evening, UK time. I'm not quite sure. I know it's a 6-hour difference. I'm not quite sure what time it is. Probably be around 6, 7 o'clock. But just this week has just been absolutely like I don't know the word to explain what's been going on. Obviously, I've got my guy Andy, who's been doing very well out there, capturing all the kind of the footage. 22-foot ring, 24-foot ring, 20-foot ring. It took kind of the storyline for the first couple of days of the week. Billy Joe then rocks up in his Versace. Doesn't turn up to the first face-off. So Canelo faces off alone. Then rocks up to the one the other day, or a couple of days ago now, in his Versace dressing gown. Tyson Fury's arrived there. It's all going on in Dallas, basically.
Yeah, and his big mate seems to be starting all kind of fights, shouting, "There's only one Billy Joe Saunders" every time someone walks past. But yeah, it's been eventful. It doesn't feel like it's only a Friday. You know, the weigh-in hasn't even happened yet, and it feels like there's been enough captured in 1 week to be enough for a whole fight. I think within it all, though, Billy Joe Saunders, I think, has separated himself from all the chaos, and that's one thing people are missing. They're thinking Billy Joe has kicked up about the ring size. Billy Joe has kicked up about going to stuff. I don't think he has. I think he's separated himself, and this is one big gypsy plan. I listened to his father last night at the press conference and saying there's a gypsy spell on it all and all this kind of stuff. And I think they really believe in that wee bubble over there. Him, his dad, Mark Tibbs and stuff, that they're separate to everything that's going on, all the chaos. They're making all this chaos and then just standing aside and watching it go on. Does it have an effect on Canelo? It's the first time you've seen Canelo actually show emotion prior to a fight, actually get involved, actually react to people. Will that really have an effect? Who knows? To me, he's the best fighter in the world. It will take the best Billy Joe Saunders to cause an upset. And I think a few years ago, I would have said, well, Billy Joe Saunders always has a style that will give Canelo problems with. You've seen Austin Trout and Aristide Lara, them southpaw movers that have always been problematic to Canelo. This is a different Canelo than it was 5-6 years ago when he was fighting them kind of guys, or even further. Does he have enough? That's the big thing. Does he have enough in his locker to beat it? And that's what everyone is intrigued by, because he is an enigma. Billy Joe Saunders is yet to be figured out. Canelo has been beat by one person only, and that is Floyd Mayweather. Is there a blueprint then to beat Canelo? Billy Joe seems to think so, and it's what makes this very, very exciting.
I believe that, see this ring situation that's gone on this week, I believe, and I've spoken to a few people this week who are out in Dallas, and I believe that if that situation hadn't been resolved, we know it would have been resolved. Either way, it was going to get resolved. But if it hadn't been resolved, Billy Joe, knowing Billy Joe and their team and everyone there, would have left that situation on pure principle of that not being resolved not in his favour or Canelo's favour. They've met in the middle somewhere with the 22-foot ring. But do you believe that? Do you believe that Billy Joe and his team would have flown home?
Well, put it this way. Eddie Hearn is probably one of the best negotiators in boxing in terms of how he gets things done. Whether it be with the zone, Sky, all these different things. He knew instantly that Billy Joe would have just said, that's enough. It was the reason why he made it work. He had to bend to whatever kind of was requested and hang it at that time, because he knows the manner of Billy Joe to kind of just go, no, if you're not gonna work with me, hang. So he had to go to Canelo, the biggest superstar in boxing, is what he's calling him, the one that generating 70,000 people or whatever people are coming, and he had to go and say, well, listen, mate, we have to move this ring, all because of what he knows Billy Joe is capable of.
Yeah, 100%, 100% accurate there.
So yeah, but it's all interesting. It's all like, and he then comes the next day in a Versace robe, like nothing's wrong, and then says, "Oh, we're all sorted."
But I think in previous opponents, I mean, look, I'm looking at the last two opponents with Yildirim and obviously Callum Smith, but like you were just previously saying there, Jamie, I don't think Canelo would have encountered any kind of fight week where he's had someone he's facing so unpredictable outside of the ring. Forget what's going to happen tomorrow night. I'm just talking about this process of this build-up over the last few days. Canelo wouldn't have had that. It might make no difference to tomorrow night. It may do, we don't know. But I was talking to someone about it, and they're saying people like Canelo don't get kind of phased by these situations, etc. But you can't really say that until they have, and then they perform. But this could be helping Billy Joe more so than, forget Canelo for a second, this could be helping Billy Joe in his preparation for tomorrow night.
Well, you've seen Reynoso trying to step in the way of when people were shouting things and whatever. Eddie Reynoso's getting to the forefront and kind of getting angry and getting things. I think that's a sign that he's still trying to protect Canelo from everything that's going on. When Canelo then baits back, he must understand he has to get in front. So I do think it is playing a part. I don't think he's ever experienced it before. Does it help Billy Joe? Every little helps in this position. He's gone into the lion's den here. He's gone into fighting in front of 60,000 or whatever they're going to actually get into it. So he needs every little bit of help and sway to get him over this fight week. So it's helping him. I definitely believe it's helping him.
Well, not long to find out. Tomorrow night, obviously live on the Zone. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the weighing today as well, because we know Billy Joe is looking in tremendous shape. And listen, who's betting against some sort of drama at the weighing today? We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, and the weigh-in being open to the public also adds to the space. You know, there's 5,000 being allowed to the weigh-in.
Yeah.
I do believe Billy Joe is the kind of fighter who will prefer this atmosphere, this being all in the other side of the world and with 60,000 fans baying for his blood. So let's see.
Jamie, just before I let you go, just the final one on Natasha Jonas, who lost a close fight to Katie Taylor last weekend in Manchester on the Chisora Parker card. Just wanted, your opinion on her performance, but also there was a few There was a few shouts after Terry Harper pulled out yesterday to throw Natasha Jonas in with Troy. Could you comment on any of that?
I think Natasha Jonas will beat Troy, but it's just, I think, too soon. From a 10-round absolute war with Katie Taylor to jumping into another 10-round fight in 2 weeks' time. We'll be very, very, very tough on the body. Wouldn't surprise me if they would be really willing to go and get in there. Her and Joe Gallagher both. But one of the best women's fights, one of the best fights I've seen of 2021 was Natasha Jonas and Katie Taylor. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think the suggestion of her jumping in at that notice to fight Troy is a bit much. But
on paper, it's a fantastic idea. But in reality, on the body of Taisha and what she's just been through, you couldn't ask for her to get into another 10-round battle like she just did. Okay, well, Jamie, listen, we'll look forward to tonight, and then obviously tomorrow night. It's I think come Sunday morning, there's going to be a lot of talking points regarding everything happening over the next couple of days. So we'll see how it all pans out. Yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend, it seems. Absolutely. Okay, well, Jamie Conlon, thank you very much for giving IFL TV some of your time this morning, and we'll catch up with you again really soon. Nice one, Cooks. Have a good one, mate. Top man. Go.